What happens when an actor steps so deep into the role of Jesus that the weight of the cross begins to feel real, not just physically, but in his soul? Jonathan Roumie is not just playing Christ, he's living the agony, the isolation, and the sacred suffering. And as season 6 of The Chosen dives into the crucifixion, it's no longer just about performance. It's about survival, faith, and sacrifice. Behind the camera, Jonathan is walking his own Via Dolorosa, and it's breaking him down in ways he never expected. Jonathan Roumie isn't new to playing Jesus. Over 6 seasons, he's carried the emotional weight of miracles, betrayals, love, and loss. But something is different now. Season 6 is not just another chapter, it's the most intense, painful, and sacred portrayal yet, centered on the final days of Christ. From the moment filming began, Jonathan felt it, not just in his body, but in his spirit. In his own words, he's been intimately acquainted with the cross. And that statement isn't poetic, it's deeply personal. He recently shared raw, emotional reflections from the set. In one Instagram post, he revealed a rare behind-the-scenes glimpse of himself, not in costume, not in character, just Jonathan, exhausted and vulnerable, standing beside the very cross that he's been nailed to again and again for days. He said those photos might be the only time we see him out of makeup for a long time, and you can feel it in his words. This isn't acting anymore. It's transformation. He's entering into the pain, the silence, the suffering that defined Jesus' final moments on earth. When he says there's still no more suffering to endure, he isn't exaggerating. He's not just talking about the long hours or the physical challenges. It's the emotional unraveling, the kind that comes from trying to carry a story this holy with complete truth. Jonathan's goal isn't just to play Jesus. He wants to embody the reality of that passion. He wants the audience to feel it. And in that process, he's putting himself through emotional and spiritual trials that most actors never face. In one quiet confession, he said he's witnessed even the crew break down. People on set, those behind the lights, cameras, and props, have been reduced to tears just watching these scenes unfold. They aren't reacting to fake blood or dramatic music. They're feeling the gravity of what's happening. That says everything. Because when the performance is so powerful that the people who already know the script still cry, it means something real is happening. But with that intensity comes isolation. Jonathan has admitted this role has pushed him into deep places, some of which feel lonely and overwhelming. He's spoken of spiritual warfare, of mental exhaustion, and of needing divine strength just to keep going. He's not pretending. He's not performing for social media likes. He's asking for prayer because what he's doing isn't just work. It's devotion. It's his offering. This isn't a season you simply watch. It's a season you feel. And if the first images and updates are already this emotional, imagine what it's like to be the one actually carrying the cross. That's where Jonathan Roumie is right now, not just beneath the heat of the lights, but beneath the shadow of the crucifixion itself. Jonathan Roumie once said that portraying Jesus is a calling, not a career. And in season 6, that calling is starting to show its cost. When he stands beside the cross on set, it's no longer a prop. It has become a symbol of everything he's enduring, the silence between takes, the weight in his eyes, the moments he disappears from the spotlight just to gather his strength. These aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of how far he's willing to go to honor this role. In one of his most emotional interviews, Jonathan revealed something that truly struck a chord. He said that the crucifixion scenes weren't just hard. They were sacred, painful, and defining. And that word, defining, means everything. Because when a role defines you, it doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. Jonathan is no longer just acting in The Chosen. He's walking through his own personal Gethsemane, where faith and pain collide in silence. He described the set as being wrapped in a strange kind of reverence. It wasn't like filming any other scene. People moved slower, spoke softer, cried more. There was no joking, no casual chatter, no lightness. Instead, the atmosphere was heavy, like the air itself understood what was being captured. And even though it's just a show, everyone involved seems to know. This moment demands something more than performance. It demands surrender. Jonathan also spoke about how this season has pushed him into emotional places he's never gone before. He described it as spiritual warfare. Imagine that. Not just learning lines, hitting marks, or staying in character, but battling doubt, fear, pressure, and exhaustion all at once. It's not just acting. It's a test of faith. And yet, in all of this, Jonathan remains anchored. He doesn't run from it. He doesn't complain. He calls it grace. There's something deeply powerful in the way he talks about suffering. He doesn't see it as something to avoid. He embraces it because he believes that the only way to truly portray Jesus is to walk through even a fraction of what he went through. That kind of commitment is rare. It's not just method acting, it's soul acting. He's pouring out every drop of himself, not for fame, not for applause, but for truth. He even admitted that he's putting all of his trust in God to get through this season. That might sound simple, but think about what that really means. In a world where most actors rely on fame, money, and recognition, Jonathan is relying on faith. He's not seeking validation, he's seeking purpose. And that's why so many people are moved by his work, because it comes from a place of surrender, not ego. Many fans have already said they're brought to tears just by seeing Jonathan's behind-the-scenes photos. Just standing beside the cross, covered in dust and exhaustion, he communicates more than words ever could. You can see the burden, you can feel the pain. And it's because it's real. Not just a role, not just a scene, but a moment of complete emotional exposure. And yet, despite all of this, Jonathan remains focused on the mission. He says he wants this portrayal to ignite something real in the hearts of viewers. He wants people to feel the weight of the crucifixion, not just as a historical event, but as a personal invitation to reflect, to connect, and to believe. That kind of purpose is rare. And that's why Season 6 of The Chosen isn't just a show. It's a spiritual experience unfolding before our eyes. As the cameras rolled in Italy and the United States, Jonathan Roumie wasn't just standing on a film set, he was stepping into one of the most soul-crushing chapters in the life of Christ. The crucifixion isn't simply a scene in The Chosen, it is the heart of the entire series. The moment everything builds toward, the betrayal, the miracles, the teachings, the crowds, all leading to this. And Jonathan knew that portraying it would cost him something. The question was, how much? Behind his quiet posts and humble interviews lies a man who is battling far more than just physical exhaustion. Jonathan recently said in an emotional interview that Season 6 is the most difficult thing I think I've ever done. And when you hear those words, you don't just hear fatigue. You hear a man reaching his limits. Not because he's weak, but because he's giving everything he has. Body, mind, and soul. The long days under the scorching sun, being strapped to a cross, bloodied and bruised, while trying to remain emotionally and spiritually present, it's a kind of suffering that can't be faked. Jonathan isn't just acting these moments, he's absorbing them. He's surrendering to them. And even when the director yells cut, the emotional weight doesn't disappear. It lingers. It follows him home. It shows in his eyes. He's admitted that it's hard to come back from some of these scenes. That even when the cameras stop rolling, his heart stays stuck in that moment. Imagine carrying that kind of heaviness, not just for one day, but for weeks. And yet, he never complains. He never asks for pity. Instead, he calls it a privilege, a painful, holy privilege to carry this cross in front of the world. This deep emotional immersion has also affected those around him. According to reports from the set, multiple crew members and supporting actors have broken down during the crucifixion filming days. People who've worked in the industry for years, who've seen it all, couldn't hold back their tears. Not because of the makeup or the setting, but because of the raw, spiritual power Jonathan brings into every frame. One crew member said, "It felt like we weren't filming anymore. It felt like we were witnessing something sacred." And that's exactly what Jonathan wants, to go beyond entertainment, beyond storytelling, and into transformation. He wants the viewer to feel the sorrow, the silence, the sacrifice. He wants the screen to disappear so that what remains is truth. And that mission is crushing him in the best and worst ways. He has described this period as mental, physical, and spiritual warfare. Those words aren't chosen lightly. They're the kind of words you use when you feel like you're in the middle of something cosmic, something bigger than yourself. Jonathan's faith is what keeps him standing. He said that the only way he could get through this was by placing full trust in God. Not partial trust, not hopeful optimism, but complete surrender. Because how else can a man portray the agony of Jesus if he himself doesn't walk the path of surrender? And that's what makes his performance so real. He's not just showing us the passion of Christ, he's entering into it. But even with faith, the struggle is real. Jonathan has shared that there are moments of deep isolation, emotional exhaustion, and even fear. Fear of not being able to deliver what this role demands. Fear of being too broken to continue. But he fights through it every single day because he knows what's at stake. Not just the quality of a show, but the potential to touch millions of lives, to bring people back to the heart of Jesus. Season 6 of The Chosen is being filmed in 2 countries for a reason. It's global, ambitious, and unprecedented. And right at the center of it is Jonathan Roumie, a man with trembling hands and a burning heart, willing to give everything for the message of the cross. His journey is not glamorous. It's not easy, but it's sacred. And the deeper he walks into Christ's suffering, the more powerful his light becomes. There's a moment in every spiritual journey when the weight becomes unbearable, when your strength fades, your emotions collapse, and all you have left is your faith. That's the space Jonathan Roumie is now walking through. He's not just portraying the passion of Christ, he's feeling it. And while we, the audience, only see what's on screen, Jonathan is living the in-between. The silent hours, the tears after rap, the prayers whispered in solitude. This isn't just another season of The Chosen. It's the breaking and rebuilding of a man who said yes to the most sacred role of his life. Jonathan called this entire experience not business as usual. That phrase might sound simple, but it cuts deep, because most productions are built around performance, logistics, and success. But this is different. This is holy ground. He isn't surrounded by bright lights and celebration. He's surrounded by dust, blood, and quiet reverence. He's reminded with every scene that he's walking on the edge of something eternal, and that knowledge humbles him, wounds him, and drives him. In his own words, filming the crucifixion has been heavy, humbling, and holy. And no one who hears that can ignore its meaning. Heavy, because the suffering he portrays is rooted in real, historic agony. Humbling, because stepping into the shoes of Jesus requires letting go of ego, pride, and control. And holy, because somehow, in the silence between each take, God's presence is being felt not just by Jonathan, but by everyone on set. But let's not romanticize the pain. Jonathan has confessed that this season has taken a toll not only on his body, but on his mental and spiritual well-being. He has used phrases like spiritual warfare and emotional breaking point. And when someone that deeply faithful admits to struggling, it means the weight is real. No actor can fake that level of emotional fatigue. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his eyes. This isn't scripted, this is sacrifice. And yet Jonathan is not giving up. Even in his lowest moments, he keeps showing up. He keeps embracing the pain because he believes this portrayal isn't just for the audience. It's for God. Every moment nailed to that wooden beam, every cry, every drop of sweat and blood, it's a kind of worship, a testimony. And the beauty of it is that it's not polished or perfect. It's raw. It's real. And that's exactly why it matters. What makes Jonathan's journey so powerful is not that he's perfect, but that he's willing. Willing to be broken, willing to be stretched, willing to walk through fire so others can feel the light. That kind of courage isn't found on every set. It's rare. And it's exactly why millions are connecting so deeply with this season. And let's not forget, The Chosen is still not finished. Jonathan still has scenes to shoot, emotional peaks to climb, more of Christ's pain to endure. But even with all that lies ahead, he remains committed. He believes that this portrayal will reach those who need it the most, those who have forgotten Jesus, those who feel disconnected from faith, those whose hearts have grown cold, and that's why he continues. not for applause, but for impact. Dallas Jenkins, the creator of the series, has said that Season 6 is planned to release in late 2026. The first 6 episodes may even debut in theaters as a special global event, followed by the remaining chapters. This means the world won't just watch, it will experience this story in a way never done before. And right in the center of it all is Jonathan, bearing the cross so that the world can remember its meaning. So, as we wait for the full release, we're not just anticipating a show, we're witnessing a man's offering, a spiritual outpouring through the lens of film. Jonathan Roumie's struggle is real, but so is his faith. And because of that, millions will be touched, healed, and reminded of what true love and sacrifice look like. If you believe in this journey, if you feel the weight of his offering, if you see the Spirit moving through this performance, take a moment to pray for him, for strength, for peace, for purpose.